Hey guys, how are you doing? God bless you all. Um, so as you know, this is a video about restoration, and my theory behind this whole video, behind this whole series, is God is going to restore, replace, replenish creation from the top down, and of course, that would begin with Satan and end with the lowest thing on earth. And it's a restoration problem, and he gives us the scripture, behold, I restore all things, I make all things new. And what I'm thinking with this is this position is ousted at this point. Um, and I'm speaking theory right now. So I'm thinking that this angel right here has possibly taken this position, that there is a possibility of another angel or group moving to this position, or this position just being filled by the man child. Um, anyway, there's a lot of different theories. I did come across this verse today that, maybe my work's not in vain. And it's Psalm 75:6, and it says, "For promotion cometh neither from the east nor the west nor from the south. But God is the judge. He putteth down one and set it up another." So the cardinal direction that's missing there is the north. So, and then we talked about the judge, and of course, God is the judge, but he executes his judgment through Satan, through punishment through Satan. He judges individuals and he judges nations. I put one down, Satan has been put down, and sets up another. Um, so you can take with that from what you will. I've also searched the Bible using all these cardinal directions looking for clues. I found some, but I didn't include them yet because I really have been focused a lot on Dan. And still today, just some things that he showed me that, um, you know, to continue with Dan. So, as much as I want to kind of move on and look at these other things, um, he has me focused here for right now, and I'll explain why in just a second. But this is just a quick review of what this is all about. This position is gone on earth as it is in heaven. And we've talked about Dan extensively, how it's the tribe used for judgment, how it's the a serpent in the way, all these different things. So what we're going to do is just continue, and I've found some really amazing stuff today, so I'm really excited to show you. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the peace sign. That's what this is about the bow, and how the peace sign was talking about they used these two fingers to draw their bow, and then they were cut off. So it was more of a sign of, it wasn't a sign of a good thing, to put it that way. These were the Welsh that did this. The Welsh longbow goes back to the High Ades, Fifth Age, V for 5, V for Victory, V for Aliens. Remember the old V movie series, all that stuff. So the more I dig into this, the more I'm amazed. So I didn't realize at the time, but when I was looking at this peace sign was originally the letters D and N, or N and D. And I'm gonna pull up a picture here real quick. And it meant nuclear disarmament. And you can see the flag man here. There's all kinds of pictures of it, but this is D and N, only missing the A. And you take away from this what you want, but it stood for nuclear disarmament. And I was very convinced by the Lord that this was definitely not a coincidence. And it even goes deeper. And I was looking at Dan, and I kept seeing the letters. I'm like, this is also DNA. This is also talking about DNA. We're just missing the A. Or I'm sorry, we're just need to rearrange the letters. So I'm looking through all this, and I'm just becoming amazed by really what I'm seeing. And excuse me. I'm also thinking that Revelation 7, not seeing Dan, and of course in the lineup, are they the ones that are going to take the mark of the beast, altering their DNA? So once again, going back to the fallen angels, back to Mount Hermon, back to where Dan settled. So these threads, guys, they've actually just been crazy to me. How the Lord has just threaded this continually. Dan is also mentioned 72 times in the Bible, and it's the same number of languages that split up when the Lord destroyed the Tower of Babel, which of course is attributed to idol worship and the fallen angels. Again, another thread. So as I'm looking at all this, and of course here it is out of off the internet there, the scattered languages. Um, Also, the witness in Revelation 14, we see 144 pairs. Divide that in half, you get 72, wise virgin pairs. The Lord did something similar to this in Luke 10. So, is this the good seed that's going to go out and conquer the tribe of Dan? Those that are um, going out two by two, which, of course, here's our verse, Luke 10, 1 through 9. You can look at that. And then he says, I saw Satan fall as lightning from heaven. Behold, I give you the power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. Nothing will hurt you. The power to tread on serpents. What is the tribe of Dan? It's a serpent in the way, or a serpent, that strikes the heel of the horseman. So, you have all these little threads that come off of this. And this was stated right after he talked about the 72. I know it says 2 by 2 and just 70 here only, but if you read further down in the chapter, it also compares to what Moses and Aaron did, and Moses and Aaron appointed 70, and that's where you get your 72. Okay. So anyway, so the tribe of Dan, serpent in the way, the power to tread on serpents. Okay, so now before I get started on this portion, understand I am not saying anything about anyone's background, where they're from, the countries they're from. There is no, I'm looking for truth, the same as everybody else. However, there is something very, very, very strange going on with the Celts, Irish, Danish, Scottish, English area. And what, in fact, is there's a lot tied to these pagan gods and pagan rituals. And today's happens to be March 16th, which tomorrow, of course, is St. Patrick's Day. And that's what this video is going to be about. So let's take a look here. But there is a DNA problem here. So I'm making no assumptions. I'm simply trying to display some connections that the Lord has shown. This is an attack on anyone or their heritage. However, we do have a DNA problem on this earth. That's a fact. And it takes the Lord to show you, and the maturity of a good Christian to look at it objectively. Okay, so this is a cutout from this Van Buren article I got on another site. So there are certain facts that suggest the Celts might have derived from Jewish tradition from the East. The Celtic body is ecclesiastical and civil knowledge was Druidism. Their system can be traced back to about 800 BC, 1800 BC. It is recorded in Welsh triads that Hugh Garden synthesized the wisdom of the ancients for those whom he led west from summer Mesopotamia. And it goes on further, and it talks about the Trutha de Dan ruled in Ireland for about 2 centuries, and they were highly skilled in architecture, right, masonry, and other arts from their long residence in Greece. The Trutha de Dan were descendants of Daenus, the son of Belus, who went with his 50 daughters to Argos, the home of the ancestors Lo. An Irish legend, the Trutha de Dan, who were considered to be demigods, were said to have possessed a grail-like vessel. These teachers of wisdom were the founders of the Druidic priesthood. Okay, so, and then you just Google Irish folklore, and I'm not going to click on all these because these threads just go on and on and on. But if you look at this and you read this, the Labor Gabala Iran, or Iran, takes you back to the Tower of Babel. All these little clicks take you back to the Tower of Babel for the forerunner of the Irish language. So we don't have anything convincing here yet, but let's keep going. There's more. This is more for information. I just want to make sure I'm not making any presumptions here. Let's see here. So jealousy we know is tied to green. Okay, So are the Irish. That's, hoop-de-doo. Okay, so uh, the green phallus of Osiris. Okay, that's something you can look at. Red hair, fair skinned people. Okay, why is there such a humorous speculation about calling them soulless or gingers? You know, ginger means horn or root. Okay, obviously we go back to the serpent's root of Isaiah 14:29. Most police, judges, or magistrates are of Irish descent. Many pagan rituals stem from Ireland, Scotland, and England. Okay. Um, Beltane or uh, Baltane, the Burning Man or the Wicker Man Festival. Uh, this is a festival that's held out in Nevada at Rock Canyon, I believe. I'm going to pull it up so I can talk about it. It's not Rock City, it's Black Rock City, Nevada, every year. Okay. So I'm just going to show you something right here real quick. This is the Burning Man. Okay, you can look at all their website. They have all kinds of stuff on it. It's a pagan ritual. Okay, uh, this is our upside down peace sign. Okay, this is what they burn. This effigy. Okay, a large wooden effigy, the man, and they do it every year. I think it's around August sometime when they do it. Sold out by July 24th. Okay, so um, and it has a history. Okay, that talks about in 2007 they did this Green Man, or they always have this like Green Man there. Okay, and this is the Burning Man. Okay, now this all goes back to May Day. All right, the Burning Man Festival, um, the Wicker Man, which is a movie. Um, the Wicker Man is a movie that was about killing Christians. All right, and it comes from Celtic paganism. All right, now what happened in this movie? Let's see. You have this guy. He goes and um, goes to this island. Okay, and he stays at the Green Man Inn. Okay, we'll get into that here in a little bit. And it's about this May Queen. Okay, this young girl as a May Queen. May Queen gets into the maypole, which is a phallus. You have streamers coming off the maypole. Let's pull one up just real quick. These are the streamers. Okay, that's a poor picture. Let's see if we can pull something up. There we go. So these are the streamers. This is the seed. All right, coming off the phallus, the wreath, the womb. Okay, coming off the phallus. This is about fertility. This is a fertility pagan ritual. Okay. Um, Going back to the Wicker Man, stays at the Green Inn. Okay, so he's on this island, and they figure out that he is going to be a sacrifice. And this guy here tells Howie that Rowan is not the intended sacrifice. However, himself he is. He fits the God's four requirements. He came on his own free will. Okay, our salvation is by our own free will. The power of a king. Okay, we are known as kings and priests. He's a virgin and a fool. All right, defiant, and they strain him up. Right, they put him on the sacrifice, and they're going to put him in this uh, this giant effigy here. If I can find the text where it says that. I don't have my glasses on, so let's see. Okay, here we go. The villagers force Howie inside a giant wicker man statue and set it ablaze. Okay, so it's about killing Christians. It even gives inside the wicker man, terrified Howie recites Psalm 23 and prays to Christ. He curses the islanders to the death, and the wicker man collapses in flames, revealing the setting sun. So this goes back to the Burning Man. All right, so all these threads and point to May Day, Pelton Celtic, the Burning Man, all right, Maypole, fertility, all right, and also the pagan ritual that they have out in um, Nevada. Okay. You also have Cern, which comes from Cernunnos, which is a Celtic horned god. All right, let's pull him up real quick. Um, right here. This is Cernunnos. Celtic studies, Celtic horn god, Celtic polytheism. This is where we get the word Cern, okay? All these different deities. You can, I mean, there's tons of them, okay? It goes on and on and on. Okay. So it wasn't until I saw the Enter the Stars video this morning that dots really started to connect for me. So let me highlight what he put out. Once again, no assumptions, just due diligence. We're entering St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, okay? It is a Celtic pagan holiday, however you cut it. Historically, it's about eating and drinking alcohol. So when I saw this, I immediately thought eating and drinking and giving in marriage. Okay, so where does the giving in marriage come in? And is this really going to be the time frame? Or are we that close? I don't know. I'm not setting a date, but I immediately keyed in on that. So, okay, calm down. We've been eating and drinking. What about giving in marriage? Maybe, wait and see. What I found out is St. Patrick's Day falls on the same day as this ancient pagan god called Liber Pater. And it just so happens that it appears our Freemason founding fathers, in disguise, celebrated this Liber Pater as St. Patrick's Day. Again, lies to cover up true intentions. So who is this Liber Pater? Okay. Also known as Liber Pater, the Free Father was a god of virtue, culture, wine, and fertility. So what happens when you get married? You have children, okay? That's the fertility and freedom. Pagan deity, it goes back to Rome, but it was carried through to modern day England, or I'm sorry, Ireland. Okay, so this leads you to Liberalia. Okay, Liberalia is the festival of Liber Pater. Okay, and it was about the maturing of young men. All right, at ages 15 to 16, they would remove this bulla paratexa. All right, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. It was essentially just a charm they wore around their neck. Okay, and it would be this little charm they wore. All right, was against envious people. Again, jealousy and greed. The young men disregarded their bulla paratexa, and they put on the toga. Okay, which was the man's gown, and it was the official kind of like uniform, I guess, of Rome. So March 17th was meant to honor Libra Pater, an ancient god of fertility. Okay. So he was also a vegetation god, which we'll get into here in a minute, responsible for protecting seed. All right. The females would do the wreaths of ivory. Remember the wreath of ivory on the maypole. All right. So trying to connect all these threads for you guys here. There's the wreath on the maypole. Fertility, the pole entering the phallus. Or, I'm sorry, the phallus entering the womb, which is the same thing we have in D.C. You have the Washington Monument, and then you have the Capitol Dome. It's the same thing. All right. Libation is pouring out liquid, all right, and offering it to a god or spirit. This is where you dump your alcohol on the floor, all right. It's passed on to the to these pagan gods. Okay, so Liber Pater was the vegetation god responsible for protecting seed. This takes us back to our vine, our vein, our vanity, our the vein on the over the stump, all the way back. Let me find it here. All the way back to here. All right, the vein, fertility god. Same thing. Remember this too. This is important. The windpipe, the wind. It's the same thing. The vein is trying to choke the life out of the tree. Now, there's something interesting here. Libra's priests were older women wearing wreaths of ivy. All right, the priestesses made special cakes of oil, and honey. I'm trying to figure out this honey because we know Samson was a Danite. We know, and then there's the bees, and then there's the honey. I believe this honey has something to do with a false golden age. Okay, and the bees are the workers. We're the bees, and I'm going to try to show that here in another video. But we're the bees producing the money to take them to the golden age. Okay, it goes a little bit further than I wanted to right now, but just keep it in the back of your mind. Okay, so we went back to the green man. Remember in our Burning Man, we had this green man. He stayed at the Green Man Hotel on the island before he was crucified, before he was killed and burned in that wicker man effigy. So we have this green man, okay, and this is again what they worship out in that Black Rock City. Okay, this is their little effigy that they have going on. Okay, out at the Black Rock City in Nevada. All right, it's a symbol of rebirth. Okay, that should be no disguise. Okay, of what's going on. The line, the branches are vines, all these different things tying into this green man. And then I read this in Samson. If they bind me with 7 green wreaths, which are vines essentially, that were never dried, I shall be weak and be as any other man. Okay, just found it interesting. I'm not sure quite what it means, but I thought it was interesting with what we're studying. Okay, so you have this bulla. I'm sorry to go back and forth, but sometimes I find something and then I have to go back. All right, so we have this bulla, all right, and then it takes them to the toga when they become of age. Now, this toga or man's gown, all right, is the garment that I wore as a citizen of Rome, making them eligible to become a citizen. So the boy would carry this bulla, all right, until he reached manhood, at which time he'd put on the toga. All right, is this the reference to a bull? I'm not sure. This was used to keep evil spirits away, but in fact, did it bring the evil spirits to them? Probably. So anyway, I just wanted to point that part out. Of course, a toga party, all right, is a party with a Greek or Roman theme where everyone dresses up as a toga, with wearing a toga with the vine in their head or on their hair. It's usually, you wear bed sheets or sandals or whatever, and you play games and stuff. But obviously, there's a lot of excessive drinking, probably sex, and everything else. So, is this why the Statue of Liberty wears a toga and over time has turned green? So, just something to think about. All right, why has this turned green? The Statue of Liberty, okay, it goes back to our study, which is libera, libation, which is where we get the word liberty. Free sex, free fun, drink, eat, marry, all right, have children, all these different things, fornication. All right, so what makes copper turn green? Essentially, to keep it simple, it's oxidation from these things right here. Patina is a coating of various chemical compounds, all right, formed on the surface during exposure to oxygen, rain, acid rain. It's gonna happen, right? Air. Air is the breath of life. I'm also reminded to tell you that the groves were places of pagan worship. Okay. So what about this oxidation, this green? It turns green, but what does God say about destroying the Antichrist? He'll destroy him with the breath of his life, with the breath of his mouth. What's in the breath of your mouth? Oxygen, water, carbon dioxide when you exhale. Libra also is our scales. It's the symbol of scales, the scales of justice, which is also the same for the tribe of Dan, justice of his kind. he shall achieve justice for his kindred. I thought this was interesting. Going back again, I'm sorry, but back to that Liberia, there they had these shrines, okay, that would these divines were without form or face in regions of Rome, okay, and I found this green man named Johnson, Ray Johnson, who had no face. Right, he had some sort of deficiency or some sort of disfiguration. Another reference to a green man, no face. Again, back to our original word. All right, going all the way back. Libation, St. Patrick's Day. Anyway, the breath of life goes back to again our artery. The artery carries the blood that has oxygen. The vein carries the blood that has no oxygen. It's choking in a sense, right? It's not medically choking, but I'm sure there is a disease that does that. It's choking the life out of that tree, the tree of life, the tree of knowledge and good and evil. It's the vein, the vine, the vanity. Okay. No longer copper colored, but has turned green. Osiris, known as the green god. Depicted as a green skinned man with a pharaoh's beard. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, the breath of life. Phallus impudicus. Stink horn. What is the Antichrist? He is the little horn that rises. Phallic shaped mushroom. Dark olive colored conical head. What are those things that L.A. Marzulli finds all the time? Those. Let's see if I can find it. Conical head. They wanted to be like the gods. Or these were the false gods, one of the two. Conical head. Red hair. Red hair giant. Conical head. It's Latin for shameless or immodest. Isn't it amazing how God puts things in nature to show us the truth? You look at this mushroom folk uses, they would rub it on bulls to make them stronger, also as an aphrodisiac. I don't know if that's a reference to our bull or not, but it fits. Medical properties. Anticoagulant. That this mushroom can reduce the risk of this condition by reducing the incidence of platelet aggregation, and may have a potential as a supportive prevented. So it helps reduce the formation of a blood clot in a vein in breast cancer. Why breast? Kind of interesting. I wouldn't be surprised that this tribe's going to be used by Satan as a cover to bring in the Antichrist. Um, there's just no doubt in my mind at this point. And some of you might be saying, well, Obama's the Antichrist. Well, true. And Scripture can prove that without a doubt. And so who is this green guy coming? I'm under full. There's two Antichrists, okay? And I've been shown this for a long time that there are two churches, okay? There are two churches in Revelation, the Church of Smyrna and the Church of Philadelphia, that rule and reign with Christ. That's it. All the other churches fail to repent. Okay, it's written in the future, but it's also it's also written in the past. So those two churches, those two women, which churches are women, have a birthing process. Each one of them goes through a birthing process. There's tribulation. Tribulation is nothing more than a fancy word for sorrows, for birth pains. And I believe the Church of Philadelphia has seen Obama as their Antichrist, if you will. And I believe the Church of Smyrna will have their own. Some might say, well, Obama's going to come back and a harsher type rule. Could be. Could be. Or Trump could also be one. I don't know for sure. But I do find this very interesting, and especially the timing of it. So anyway, I thought of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews but are not, but do lie. I thought of Judge Judy for some reason. That she's on there for judging people. She's very cranky, very irritable. She's always right. She says she's a Jew. Is she the justice? I don't know. I thought it was just kind of funny. But I'll get into this next, probably. Metallica and Justice for All. Most of the members of Metallica are from Danish descent, which is pretty interesting. And there's a lot of stuff surrounded with this. Their name comes from a bee, believe it or not, called the Metallica bee. So anyway, God bless you all, and we'll see where the Lord takes me next. Bye-bye.